Thank you for the beer and the pizza. And thank you for WordPress. This is pretty cool. Thank you to App Themes, one of our other co-sponsors who's not able to make it tonight. If you don't know, App Themes builds awesome application-like themes. I'm Zach. You're at Exegy. That's us. We build custom web and mobile applications. We do a lot with WordPress as well. So after this, we'll probably do a few minutes. Well, we'll do some Q&A, and then we'll also do, if anybody has anything they want to talk about as far as your hiring or quick, I'm looking for work, maybe 30 seconds each. Be happy to get everyone up here. I want to make sure we're making some connections, and then eat some beer. So, yeah, anything else? Anyone got anything before we get started? Excellent. Okay. All right. Well, again, ebusalon.com. Thank you very much. Take the floor.
Alright guys, forgive me if you can't hear me. I'm usually soft-spoken, so just tell me to speak louder. I'm Ibrahim Madha, or Ibu for short. I'm a product manager at salon.com. You are here today to see a sneak peek behind our custom WordPress install. So, are all of y'all familiar with salon.com? Everyone's a reader. Yeah, cool, awesome. Contrary to what my friends think, we're not a hair care website. We are a, we've got like 1 million page views, weekly, monthly, something like that. Yeah. We post maybe like 30 or 40 articles a day. We've got over 200 stories we bring in through AP. So we're a very active WordPress install. It's, we have over 2 million comments and who knows how many users, a lot. So we're definitely not your typical WordPress user, and we did a lot of stuff to kind of change for our specific editorial workflow and also performance-wise. So here you are, you're looking at the site right now. This is, I apologize for the terrible ad skin, but we gotta make that paper. So salon.com is our main website, but if you try to go to WP admin, of course it will just redirect you to the site. So we've actually put all of our admin on a separate URL, and that is, it's a secret, so don't tell anybody, railroad.net. And just give a second for the
Does that mean something? Like an inside joke?
Yeah.
It's
a pun to the journalistic expression to railroad something, and it was an available domain. So this is a mirror of our site, and a few things you'll notice that are a little different is you'll see these numbers by the stories, and I'll explain what that means in a second. So I'll just take you in a quick peek behind our post view, and you'll see the first thing you notice, we've kind of gotten rid of a lot of the dashboard elements because they're not really useful to us. They don't really, we don't want our users seeing them all the time. We just kind of want them to get to their work. So here is our posts table. And off the bat, you'll notice, you see how we have images on the side. We're highlighting, I don't know if you can tell on the screen, it's kind of hard to see, but we bolded the first topic or category. We have this priority and shelf life stuff, and I'll explain what all of this is. So the first thing we did, let me say, we put our featured art, which is the same, the post thumbnail or featured image feature of WordPress. We put it on this table, and you can do the same. You see the same screen. You go to set the featured image here, and you can do that without opening up the story. We did it that way because we've got art and editorial departments, and it sort of makes the workflow easier. They don't have to open the story and risk saving over anyone else's changes. Plus, it makes it easier to identify the story. You can see it right there. You know, it just makes one less click, which is always nice. The other thing we do here is we have the notion of byline, and this is separate from WordPress. WordPress's default notion of author. So how many of you run WordPress blogs that have multiple authors? So do you ever have cases where there's someone who they'll have like 2 authors for one article? So there wasn't really a way that we saw that handled this. So what we did is we created writers as a custom taxonomy. And so instead of the user who entered the post becoming the author by default, it's now a taxonomy. So you tag a story with the writer. This works for us because, of course, it solves the problem of having multiple people, as you can see by this story right here. Also, it makes more sense because we have users who are salon employees entering stories by people who aren't going to have a WordPress login. So that's what we did for that. We have the notion of categories, and we have primary categories, and so you see the ones that are bolded are the primary ones. Like this one is politics and news, but we put politics first. And this is so we can show what context the story will show up in. And so it has a default landing page. The same thing with topics. Another thing you'll notice is we have these notes here, and all this is a text field in the database, but it's really super useful because you can just scan the page and then you'll see, you know, things like do not publish, bolding, or little messages that we have for each other, so it makes the communication much easier. It's kind of hard to see, of course, on this screen, but the other thing is priority and shelf life. And so going back to the cover, we have this cover is dynamically generated based on those 2 values. So the way it works is editorial will assign priority to a story, and depending on if the current time is within that story's shelf life, which is you know, how many hours from the publish date, and of course we have the expiration right here. So if it hasn't expired and it has a high enough priority, it will show up on the cover. So if we had a breaking story, we could set priority 1, and it would more than likely get the top slot, which is that big one, if it's in current shelf life. Okay, so let me take you into a story page. So this is also very different from what you're used to seeing, probably. We've taken the ability out for a user to sort and move around the various meta boxes. The reason we did that is so it's easier to communicate. We can tell them where something is on the screen, and it won't be different from user to user. The other thing you'll notice is that we've taken these out of meta boxes and sort of put them above everything else. And so what cover line is basically an alternative to a title. If we have something on the cover, this one is character capped at I think it's what's the character cap? 50 characters. And it watches your limit for you. The deck is the same thing as the excerpt. It's just we've been calling it deck for however many years. And then byline is what I was talking about. It's the writer taxonomy. And then over here is what we call the magic tagger. So have any of you guys used the Simple Tags plugin? So what it does is it will ping OpenCalais, which is a service provided by Reuters, and it'll scan the body of your post and provide you with suggested keywords, suggested tags. So we've done that with our own AI. So it'll look at our topic database, which is what we call our post tags. We call them topics, and pick what is more likely. And so that's this box here. And of course, you can also arrange these to get your primary, and that's how we solve that problem. And this is your cover rank box, like I was talking about. Let's see what else. Oh, and this happens to be a slideshow, and so this is, I think what was called at the last meetup, someone called it the Inception editor, which I like because it's an editor within an editor, but it doesn't really go past level 1, so I apologize for that lack of complexity. But so these are just slides, and you can add as many slides as you want, and our slides are usually just, you know, a piece of art and then some text with it. And they get a unique presentation on the site. And one thing that's fun too is just rearranging things, and we love jQuery because it lets us do things like that really easily. And yeah, and we also, another fun thing we do at WordPress, we actually manage the contracts from within the CMS. So each story, if it gets a unique contract, it's set up right here, and you can see it easily. Yeah.
Some people see it, depending on your access.
Yeah, depending on your level, of course. I'm an admin, so I see everything. I like having that power. Let's see, what else is on the news? It's interesting. Oh yeah, and here's the notes field, which is, it's just an exciting little text box, but like I said, it's one of the most handy things we've done, is pull that out to the post table. And so that is pretty much, oh, okay, and so the other thing that's kind of interesting what we've done is shadow posts. And so what this is typically when you have a taxonomy, like a post tag, or in our case, our custom taxonomy writer, you only get one field in the database. I think it's called description, and that's sort of where you put any meta information. So let me give you an example of a topic page. So, so this is the War Room topic page. So this is just an archive view of our post tag War Room. But you'll see that it has a special presentation. It's got this logo up here. It has this little about block. And all this information is shared in its own post type. So the post type is topic, and the taxonomy is post tag. And they're tied together via the relationships table. So the reason why we did it that way is because so people have been using WordPress, and now they have a familiar interface, and I'll show you how they edit the topic. So these are all our topic post types. I'll just find the War Room topic. And this is a topic page. So it looks just like a post page, so it's really easy for our users to edit any meta information for this topic. They can add an overhead image, which is just absolutely the same thing as featured art, and just renamed it so it's easier. They can add any sort of arbitrary HTML here to have a widget on the side, and we have a bunch of built-in widgets that we've sort of made for this type of page, like our Open Slung, which is our open blogging community, which no, it's not on WordPress, but maybe in the future. And sort of various metadata that we use. We can also change the topic type, and the reason, so we have the different topic type called media property. So if this was a movie, we'd get the media property type, which will just change the display of it, and I think quotes around it. And that's what the topic page, and we have a similar thing for writers. So here is an example of a writer page, how you would see it facing the world. And so you see Glenn has his picture up there and his bio. And if you go to any of his stories,